If you're a salon or spa owner working nonstop, barely paying yourself, and terrified to step away because it might all fall apart, you're not alone. Most salon and spa owners were never taught the business side of this industry, and that makes it feel impossible to get ahead. Welcome to the station, where we give you the structure, systems, and strategies to step into the CEO seat and lead like the legend you are. Hey friends, welcome back to the station. This is the podcast for salon and spa owners who are ready to build a business with systems, structure, and strategies that let you step into the CEO seat and actually run a profitable salon. I'm Bree, founder of the Beauty Biz Agency, and as always, I've got my amazing co-host, co-founder, and bestie here with me today. Hey Chandra, how are you?
Hello, doing good today.
So something that's been a hot topic of conversation lately, actually for quite a while, is associate programs. We hear about them all the time. And I think everybody has an opinion on them. Some owners, they swear by them. Others absolutely cannot stand them. And a lot are kind of stuck in that middle ground, just trying to figure out if they're even worth the effort or not. The problem is most associate programs, they end up dragging on way too long. They eat up your payroll, and they can be extremely frustrating for both the owner and the stylist. The owner feels like they're paying for someone who maybe isn't producing, and the stylist feels like they're stuck in cosmetology school all over again. But guys, when you build your associate program the right way, everything can change in your business. Your new stylists come in fired up, they stay engaged, and they start contributing to the floor a whole lot faster. I'm talking about weeks, not dragging on for months or even years. And the great thing is, you are able to do it without lowering your standards or wrecking your culture. Chandra, why do associate programs have such a bad rep? And how can we get people to understand how amazing they are when done right?
I think that's why they have a bad rep. I think it's because people are not doing them in an efficient way or an effective way, and it causes a lot of issues. And it's frustrating for the owner, it's frustrating for the employee, and then they just don't even want to deal with it anymore. And it's just annoying and a pain instead of it being actually something that's growing and building your business. So I think that's the biggest reason. I think more of it is just because it's frustrating, it's hard, and they're not doing it in a way that's easy and makes sense.
I agree with that. And I think we have to get real about the pain around them so we can actually fix it, right? On the owner side, here are the things that Chandra and I are told probably most often. I don't want to hire associates because I have to pay them hourly and they don't bring anything in. They never do what they're supposed to do. I feel like I'm babysitting instead of training, or it takes forever before they're worth it. And half the time they leave before I even see the return. But I got to be honest with you guys. If your idea of an associate program is someone shadowing for 8+ months, folding towels and scrubbing color bowls, then I can see why you feel like it's not worth it, because that's not even training. That is not building a stylist. That is what I like to call busy work. And that's exactly why so many owners end up saying that these associate programs just aren't worth their time at all and they're not going to do them anymore. Chandra, you and I have worked with so many owners who have said those exact same things that I just mentioned, right? And they feel a certain type of way. When you hear someone say associates just cost too much and they never catch on, what do you usually see happening inside of that salon?
Well, I mean, usually it's kind of chaotic anyways, and there's not a lot of structure going on. And so I feel like it's not just the associate program usually that is one more thing that is running all crazy and not following any sort of structure.
Yeah, structure's huge. We've said this a million times. Creative people have a hard time with structure, but as the owner, you're the leader, you've got to have that structure. But I think a part that doesn't get talked about often enough is how brutal that type of setup is for the technician or the stylist. Put yourself in their shoes for just a second. You just finished school. You got your license in hand. You are excited, you're nervous, you are ready to finally start your career. And then what happens? You spend months sweeping up hair, folding towels, running to grab somebody's foils or combs or brushes. You're literally just waiting for a chance to actually do what you came to that salon to do, what you paid so much freaking money to learn. When you have a structure in place that makes them do things like that, it is never going to build their confidence. In fact, it's going to crush it and it is going to completely drain their motivation. And eventually, in my opinion, that's when associates give up on the industry, burn out before they even get started, or they just jump ship and go to another salon that's going to promise them more. From your perspective, Chandra, how do you see it affect the associates when they are kept in this helper mode way too long?
I think it's super deflating. I think it's just like you said, like they get frustrated, they start forgetting the things that they learned in school. And it's like almost by the time you get them where you need them to be, you're retraining from scratch. I think it just gets really frustrating to them. And instead of being excited about the industry and about the career that they've started, they just start to hate it and regret it and wish they picked something else, which I would never want to be the person responsible for doing that to someone, right? Like I think that's the other side of it too. We did that before and it didn't work.
Absolutely. That's kind of that old school way of doing associate programs, though, right? That's kind of how everybody was trained. It's what they were taught, and it's what so many salons still do. So, if the old way of associate programs doesn't work for the owner or for the stylist, what's the alternative? Well, the alternative is to treat your associate program like a true system, a system in itself, something that is extremely structured, very intentional, and designed with the right goal in mind. And that goal is not to keep those new technicians stuck in training forever. I cannot tell you guys how many horror stories Chandra and I have heard about salons that actually do this. It's like these owners wanted an assistant, but they hired an associate instead. And it's important to understand that those are two completely different things. The real goal should be to get them immersed in your culture, working to your standards, learning how your salon actually runs, and to get them producing revenue as quickly as you possibly can without ever lowering the bar. And this isn't going to be a shocker to anybody out there, but it's got to be said. Cosmetology school, it doesn't give people very much. It really doesn't. All it gives them is a license, literally just this piece of paper. It definitely doesn't prepare people for the salon life. I think beauty school teaches people just enough to pass state board tests, and that's about it. What it doesn't teach is things like speed. It doesn't teach how to rebook a guest with confidence. It doesn't teach how to handle maybe an upset or an angry client without getting completely nervous and shutting down. And it absolutely doesn't teach how to deliver consistent results at a professional level. It is missing all of those. But that is why it is so crucial for you, the owner, to step in with an associate program that teaches them all of those things and so much more. Chandra, I know that you have seen this a million times. Owners, they get so frustrated with the associates until it finally clicks that it's not really the stylist's fault. It's that the school that they went to probably didn't prepare them the way that it should. What happens when that light bulb kind of goes off in the owner's minds? We're usually coaching them through this, but I love when you and I both see that aha moment. It's just so neat to see.
Yeah, I mean, I think they finally realize that they have the opportunity to mold these people into something great. I think they finally understand what a training program or what they should be teaching them should look like. I think that's where everybody kind of gets frustrated and they forget like you can make it however you want it to be and you can train these people to be successful and that's what you should be wanting to do. And I think that big aha moment they finally realize like that's what this means. It's not just having them assist me. It's not just having them here to learn off of whatever randomness. Like they actually realize that they can be a big impact in that and what they create.
Absolutely. We would love to share our entire associate program with you guys on this podcast, but it's just not possible. It takes time to create and to get it the way that you need it for your culture. You know, the Beauty Biz Agency is big on every single system, and this is what this is in your business being part of your culture. It has to speak for you, who you are as the owner, who your studio is, what you believe in. And so we can't do all of that. But we're going to share a few little tips and tricks with you. So I know some of you are probably thinking, okay, but associates still take forever and I can't afford that kind of payroll drain. We've heard that a million times, billions of times probably. But let me give you a real story really, really quickly from one of our owners inside of our BBA mastery program. For years, she flat out just refused to hire new grads. She would not do it. She told us they cost too much, they don't catch on fast enough, and by the time they're actually producing, I have already sunk months of payroll into them. But when we built a structured program together, something that had clear benchmarks and timelines, she decided that she would give it one more shot. And you know what happened? The very first associate was producing revenue on the floor in 30 days, paying for themselves in 30 days. Fast forward 8 months, and her salon, it had become the go-to place in her city for new graduates. She does not stress about hiring anymore because the talent, they all come to her. They want to be in her studio. And the best part about that is she is training people her way from the start instead of trying to undo those really, really bad habits later on. You guys know how that is. This is what's possible when you design your program the right way. And that's exactly what we're going to get into next. But before we do that, Chandra, stories like that are so powerful because it shows what is possible when a program or a system is built right. How do you think it changes an owner's mindset when they realize associates can actually be profitable that quickly?
I mean, I think it's huge mindset shift because once you start to think more along the lines of a true business owner. Like you are creating people who are going to create revenue, that are going to build the business, that's going to grow the business, that's going to help them grow themselves within your business, right? Instead of, I don't know why they have that mentality of like, I feel like I have to keep them here for a year before they can really start producing revenue. And I used to be one of my training program was modeled after some very old school, very well known, very well used training programs originally. And my mindset shift when we realized, oh my gosh, like they grow so fast because they're hungry still. You're catching them in that stage where they still want it. And that's the most amazing thing. Like when I see a level one stylist growing almost to the same revenue as some of our higher level stylists within a year or two, because they're not being held back and they're given the tools to trudge forward really fast. And I think that mindset shift as the owners is just like, whoa, like I didn't know that that was possible. I didn't know that I was holding them back in a way, and I didn't know that I actually had people who wanted to be motivated, because sometimes we create that energy for ourselves of that demotivated environment and we don't even realize we're doing it. So I think that's the biggest mindset shift as the owner.
Well, and you see a mindset shift throughout your entire team. People are rallying behind these new people and helping them, and they want to be a part of them growing, and they're cheering them on. And it is just your culture can grow and blossom in so many ways. So you are kind of killing two birds with one stone. Your culture is getting better and better and better. You're growing another six-figure stylist, and they're generating revenue for your business almost instantly. So, with that being said, let's kind of break down what makes that possible and how people can kind of start creating it in their studio. Keep in mind, we're not giving you everything. We couldn't possibly do that. So, this is just a little peek, a sneak peek, you could say. So, first up is culture immersion. From day one, your associate should know exactly who you are, what you expect, and what winning looks like in your studio. Because if you don't set that tone immediately, they're not just going to lose focus, they're going to have no idea what winning or success even means. And you can never expect somebody to hit a target that they've never seen. I see owners make this mistake all the time. All the time. Next is going to be the technical skills in the right order. You cannot throw everything to them at once. You need to start with the basics. What can they do quickly and generate revenue with quickly? Is it blow dries? Is it, but you want to go through the entire process, how the shampoo's done, how the blowout's done, how the timing's done, how the product knowledge is done. Once they've got that, then you can move into things like color theory, formulation, placements, balayage, toning. Then you've got to start layering things in like your guest experience, your retail conversations, even how to take photos that actually represent your brand. You want all of this, every single bit mapped out and checked off so nothing gets skipped and nothing gets assumed. Then there's the guest experience and communication piece. It's not just enough to know hair, skin, nails, whatever it is. They've got to learn how to hold a strong consultation, how to greet guests properly, how to handle a tough situation without falling apart, and how to confidently rebook. Those soft skills are what keep clients loyal and keep your brand strong. Then you've got retail and business training, and do not for a second start freaking out on me. This one is huge. They have to understand how to talk about things like product in a way that feels natural, not salesy, not pushy, just educational. If they can connect the dots between what the guest needs and what the salon recommends, they are actually going to support your retail goals instead of avoiding them. And when you can get them to do that early on, you are helping yourself in so many ways. Then you go into the back bar and the mixing systems, right? And so many owners skip this, but it matters so much. You have to teach them exactly how you expect product to be used and mixed and explain why it matters financially. This is why things like Vish and all of those, Vish is our favorite, not gonna lie, but Vish and Salon Scale are so important, right? They need to see how their everyday actions affect your bottom line. And then you can get into styling and presentation and all of that stuff, right? Here's the piece that either makes it or breaks it. And I think that's the calendar, Chandra. Associates, they cannot float in limbo. It's not this, I've got a full highlight today, so you're going to shadow me and learn a full highlight. And then tomorrow you're going to do a color retouch. And then the next day you're going to do an A-line bob or whatever it is. Like, no, no. They need a 30, 60, 90-day plan that spells out exactly what they are learning during those days, when they're being evaluated on what they're learning, and what their next step is going to be. Because without that, training, it gets shoved aside every time the salon gets busy, every time the salon owner gets busy, and progress, in my opinion, just it stalls. Chandra, I want to know what you feel about this because I think, well, we do this, but a lot of people don't. Marketing built in, right? Associates shouldn't just train in silence. You've got to run those model calls. You've got to put out social media posts introducing them. You've got to build excitement around their growth. This is how you are going to flip them from feeling like that payroll expense into someone who's actually helping bring in that revenue very, very quickly. I think that's a part that people miss. But when we as the owner start teaching them how to do those things, that becomes a habit that they carry on month after month, year after year, as long as they're with you. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, we build that in, we require it, like it's part of their process, and it's part of what helps them grow so much quicker. So you've got to think about that for sure.
I think the last piece is probably the digital backbone. If your entire program lives in your head, like we say with every system, or if it depends on one stylist repeating themselves 100 times, it's never going to be scalable. You have to record your way of doing things. You need to make videos, create checklists, write out scripts. It takes a lot of time. You have to build it into an actual system so it is consistent, repeatable, and it's super easy to run again and again, no matter who's leading the training. This is the way that all of you owners out there stop having to be the one that trains every single new person in your business. It's one of the things that takes up the most of your time. So figure out a way to stop doing it. This is what completely changes an associate program from being a money drain into a money maker. It's what takes it from something that you dread and they dread to one of the smartest systems in your entire business. Okay, Chandra, you and I both know owners get overwhelmed by the idea of creating all of this stuff. What do you usually tell them about starting small and building from there?
Yeah, I usually just say, pick the first two things you want them to learn. Like you said, blowouts or, whatever, color retouch, something easy. Just create those things first. Get them doing those things. You can create it as you go. It doesn't have to be like, I got to create all of these things and then I'll start using it. Because even after you do that, as you're doing it and you start working with different personalities and different types of people, you have to evolve it anyways because you realize, okay, well, this isn't resonating with this person. How do I make this change to get to everybody? You're always evolving it, but you have to just start getting content created. It really is a game changer for time saving and getting them moving quickly as possible. You have no idea. And I think that's even when we work with some of the members getting them to do this, they don't want to be on camera. It's frustrating. They get overwhelmed, and then when we just really break it down and are like, just pop the camera up and do your own thing the way you do it and just explain it, and then they start to realize, that wasn't that big of a deal. And it's like, yeah, I think everybody overthinks it, and I think that they just start with the one thing. Just pick blowouts, teach them how to do blowouts the way you want, and just record it and write it down and start there.
You have to utilize your team too. The ones that know what they're doing, the ones that follow your policies, your procedures, your systems, your structure, your standards. Utilize them in every single thing that they're doing. Utilize that. And then you have to have somewhere to house it, guys. Don't forget this. The old way of doing things, even if you have an associate program on paper, that doesn't work anymore. Everything is digitalized now. You need to gamify it. You need to make it fun. You need to make it exciting. You need to have a way for them to test out without anybody having to be there with you. You need to have a way for them to be learning these things when they're at home, when they're at the doctor's office in the waiting room, when they're doing whatever they're doing. That is how they are going to learn and grow so much quicker within your business. It's so freaking important. So, like I said, we couldn't give you everything, but our associate program, we have it all mapped out. You guys can follow it step by step, never have to wonder again, because this is a proven process that I use in my studio, Chandra uses in her studio, and a ton of our members now use in their studio. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, hardly any of them look for seasoned stylists anymore. They just don't. They would rather bring the ones in that they can train from the ground up and give them the opportunity to grow into six-figure stylists. Okay, before we wrap up, we have to get into our listener's question because it's one of my favorite things. Chandra, this one comes from a salon owner in Michigan, and she asks, I've got a stylist who's really, really good technically, but she is like constantly negative, negative Nelly all the time. She complains about clients, she stirs up drama with other team members, and honestly, it drags down the entire salon. I don't want to lose her skills, but I also can't let her poison the culture. What do I do?
I mean, she is going to poison the culture, so you have to do something. You definitely need to, I would sit down, talk with her first, find out what's going on, tell her about the issues that you're having, try to find out why she is behaving that way. If you have to put her on like a PIP plan, that would be the next step, would be maybe putting her on a personal improvement plan, setting clear guidelines as to like what the expectations are, what, you need from her, and give her a timeline of when that needs to be done. And if those things can't change this personality, I would let her go, because she will just consistently poison everything that you're trying to build over and over again. And you can find another talented person, you can create a talented person, but you can't constantly be recreating your entire business because of one person who's poisoning the whole thing. So I would definitely try to work with her first, but if she's not going to be willing to do it, then see ya.
Yeah, I would do the same thing. Something that I tell myself all the time is talent will never outweigh culture. Like that is something that I live by in my studio. And it has changed the way that I see a lot of things and the way that I see a lot of people that come to work for me. So, yep, I agree with you 100%. All right, guys, here's what we want you to take away today. Associates are not a payroll problem. They are an opportunity, a really big one, but only if you train them with structure and intention. When you build your program with culture, a clear plan, real systems, you stop having to babysit and you start building your next generation of six-figure stylists. Do not be the owner that gets in the way of this. We see this all the time. A lot of times it's not the associate, it's the owner causing the problem. Chandra said that earlier. That's the difference between always stressing about having to hire and actually having a steady pipeline of talent trained your way from day one. That should be what everybody wants. Listen, like I said earlier, you don't have to figure this all out alone. Inside of our BBA vault, we have that associate training program. We've laid out the entire roadmap, the curriculum, the checklist, the culture standards, the digital modules. It is all ready for you to plug in and run. Make it your own, but it's easy to use. So if you are ready to stop avoiding associates and finally have a program that works, go grab that inside the BBA vault. And if you're looking for other free resources or you want to see what coaching with us looks like, head to our website at www.thebeautybizagency.com. Everything's waiting right there for you. Now, before we wrap up, make sure that you're following the podcast so you don't miss an episode. And do us a favor, leave us a review so that other salon and spa owners can find the show. Chandra, how can everyone keep up with everything we've got going on at the Beauty Biz Agency?
Yeah, connect with us on Facebook and Instagram at the Beauty Biz Agency or the Beauty Biz Mentors on TikTok. And make sure you check out our Beauty Biz Live on Facebook and YouTube the first Monday of every month at 6 p.m. Central Time. We'd love to chat with you and answer any questions that you have live on the air.
100%. And once again, we're sorry about the dog in the background. They get excited. What can we say? That's a wrap, guys, on today's episode of The Station. Until next time, train with purpose, set the standard, and build associates who can produce revenue while protecting the culture that you have worked so hard to create. Now go out there, make bank, run the show, and ditch that chair. And as always, keep slaying those business goals with a whole lot of swagger.